All right, welcome to today's webinar with Pat Kua, who is one of our friends here within Pluralsight. We've spoken many times, and if you've caught one of our last conversations with him, we're excited to have you join us again. He's a great expert when it comes to how can we better develop our leadership abilities within software engineering. Now, for today, we're actually going to spend the bulk of today's conversation talking about a very specific component of leadership, and that is how to actually begin. Now, we spend a lot of time talking about how to better coach, how to lead big teams, but what we forget sometimes is that there is so many of us who are becoming leaders for the very first time. And how do you go from that transition of being a highly technical, capable engineer to being someone who's going to build impact across others within the organization? So Pat comes to us from a background as a CTO, as a developer, as a keynote speaker and author, and a leader and a founder of the Tech Lead Academy. And actually, you know what? I think Pat, love to have you introduce yourself and kind of go into a little more details, then we'll jump right in. But before we do that, a couple quick housekeeping things. So if you look at your screen, if you're joining us via Zoom, there should be a Q&A or a question mark kind of icon at the bottom. Please ask questions. I'll be monitoring that frequently throughout the actual conversation. If there's something relevant, we'll bring it up right at that moment and talk through it. And then we'll get to the rest of the questions here at the end. So that obviously makes these conversations much more fun. And we've got a great resource here, so let's definitely take advantage of that. We'll also be recording this. So rest easy knowing that you'll get a link to the recording for this one soon after we complete today's webinar. But with that, I'll turn over to you, Pat, to introduce yourself.
Great. Thanks again for having me. Really love our discussions, Austin. Looking forward to the chat. As you were saying, I've done lots of different roles: CTO, tech lead, developer. I've worked in technology for about 20 years, but one of my personal passions is really helping people like who might be on the webinar today go on their technical leadership journey. I remember going through my own first sort of transition from being a developer to being a tech lead, and what a shock it was, right? And what I've realized looking at organizations is people often get thrown into those roles without a lot of support. So we can do a lot better, and this is one of my personal passions of helping people understand what that transition is like, prepare for the skills, the different